For a moment, this is going to be about me, but then we're going to turn it all around and it's actually about you. So I'm going to go through my story. Embedded within that, I think, are all the tips that you should have in your toolkit, in your back pocket as memory points as you're going through the next steps of your job search, of completing your MAC years and moving into professional years, or if you're already working full-time, just looking at making your next transition, which is natural. Leaving here today, if you have a job today that you want to continue when you graduate, great, you can do that right to retirement, but a lot of you will say, I'm going to just progress through a number of different positions, experience all I can before I retire. That's great too, so this should give you lots of tips. When you go for a big job, you look at the job description, you customize your resume to make sure the experience you've had, even if it's babysitter, dishwasher, some more loftier jobs, a dental hygienist, a medical practitioner, office helper. I mean, quite a few people had different jobs already in the room. You take the experiences from those jobs, you look at what's required at the next one, and you say, I did this, and you make sure that it relates to what it is that job is. And when you go into the room, not only are you customizing your resume so you get in the room to have an interview, but you're going to go in the room with what I call star stories. Do not go in the room without a star story. What do I mean? What the heck is a star story? For every sentence in that job description that you just applied for, you're going to break it down. Every sentence is a requirement of the job. If it's a long job description, there could be 20 sentences, you have the potential to write 20 star stories. A star story is a 2-minute story, not longer. You're going to put the guy on the other side of the table asleep, right? 2-minute story about something specific in that job description, something specific that you have done in your past that relates to it, okay? You're going to describe what it was, so you're going to target what it was that you have as a transferable skill related to that specific need. So we got the S and the T. What action? What was your role in it? People always go into a job interview and they say, we did this and we did that. I have no idea what you did. I'm hiring you. Unless you're bringing everyone else in the row with you, I have no idea what the you was, and I'm only hiring you. So you're going to tell me what your action was in that specific story. And then finally, you're going to give me the result. So, you need this. Hey guy, you're going to employ me. You need this. I did this over here. Here's what my role was in it. Here was the result of my relationship with that role. I want you to walk in the room for any job interview with at least a good handful of them. And how you're going to build your star stories is take a paragraph called the job description. Every sentence describes one of your star stories. The first and foremost thing that you want to do is observe. Observe around you. Why? Because the language that people use is a part of the culture in that place. There's a gentle nuance that the people who have been there 5 and 10 years, particularly the ones that are leading the place, there's a gentle nuance to the kinds of words and language that they use. We all speak English mostly in our jobs. In organizations, there are some words that are bad words. Calling faculty staff, that's a bad word. I learned that by observing here. So there's a gentle nuance. Telling people that something is lacking is a bad word, but if you tell them there's an opportunity, it doesn't sound so bad. So really think about when you're in an area, a department, that remember, someone else built the processes before you. Someone else built the way that that department currently runs and how that company runs. And when you see, like, why do we do it this way? So wrong, I could do it so much better. Just remember that you have to respect the history before you and think of a way to positively articulate the opportunities. This is great. Have we ever also thought about doing it this way? I know it takes more work to say it that way, but it's going to get you further a lot faster. Empower others. When I look at people who are promotable, when I look at people who are really passionate about what they do, these are the people who communicate and they share the lessons they learn, the things that worked. They share it openly knowing they're exposing themselves to the risk that you have an opinion about something I do. Emmanuel will weigh in and tell me do it different tomorrow. Empower others with knowledge, and it's a quid pro quo. They will empower you with a little bit about them. And then it'll go back to the two of you, or the three of you in the lunchroom. We'll figure out you can actually change 4 different things about your job, and you can deliver a lot more effectively. You might find yourself in a situation where someone hires you, they tell you, just do this. List of 20 items. Don't tell anyone how you're doing it. Sometimes you will find the protectionist boss. Again, I'm going to say this. When you're looking for a job, it's just not, you have to decide if you want to feed yourself. That's pretty important. But you are shopping for your boss. And I would try and advise you, if you have the opportunity to choose, to try and really make sure you pick a boss who operates more like a mentor, who encourages you in your growth and your ability to learn. And the only way you're going to learn is if you're doing that sharing exercise. Keeping all of your little information to yourself is never going to really grow your job beyond what you know. You want to know what 5 other people in the room know and what they experience. When you go to your MBA, you'll all be sharing stories. If you ever do that, you share stories. Why do you do that? Your learning catapults. You don't need to do your MBA to get that experience. You need to go to the lunchroom. We'll have lunch. Let's talk. Not only about what you did Friday night, let's also talk about your job. That's okay. It's not that boring. You need to share information. That's the big job there. This, I cannot, everywhere I go, I run into it. If you are a micro thinker, stop it. Stop it. When you work somewhere, you need to think macroly. I just got hired. I hired you. You're in this department with me. We're together. We're working on this department and we're going to do something. It's going to be really, really, really smart. It's going to benefit our department. We're going to have $1 million next year. But in doing so, I just screwed department over there and over there. And they're going to have a deficit. And their deficit in total is going to be $2 million. Well, we are going to look like stars because we're bringing home $1 million. We were micro thinkers. I see this too often even today. Micro thinking does not make you a star, does not make you successful in your career. It makes the guy or the lady way up here who has a macro eye on the organization not very happy. You can't go through your career thinking about you and department. You need to go through your career thinking about what it is you want to achieve and how it contributes to the whole, even considering if what you want to achieve, if the net impact over here is negative 500,000, you got the whole company up 500,000, you still want to have a conversation. Macro think, don't micro think. Power of mentors. I mentioned this a little bit when I said pick in your boss, but there's no reason why, as you go through your life, that you can't have 1, 2, 3. You can have as many mentors as you want. Mentorship can be formal and informal. It could be informal because you're my best friend, and we go out, and we have coffee, and I get advice from you, and you get advice from me, and in a way, we're mentoring each other through our relationship. It can be a little more structured than that. You can look for people who have got the job you want. Speech pathologists, look for people that have the job you want, who are a little more progressed, who are maybe on their way to that job. They could be your mentor. Make friendships. I buy people coffee, they buy me coffee, I show up for coffee. I like Starbucks. Dark roast is my preference. The point is, having mentors in your life can dramatically change your thinking and keep you down the progression of finding not just one opportunity, but multiple opportunities. You will continue learning well past your graduation. The further you want to go, the more your little library might grow, and the more your mentorship circle might grow. But don't ever feel you're going to stop. I was surprised when I found myself still learning at the age of 28, and then even more so when I had 2 kids. I had a baby in January, and in February I was doing my MBA, which is a little awkward if you have to feed the kid. But we won't go there on today. It's not for today's chat. But what I'm trying to say is that you should think of learning as a life journey, okay? It gets more fun because now you're in the choose your own adventure stage, right? Plan, do, study, act. It says PDSA, PDSA. Everything I do, I have theoretically planned. I planned and just do it. But I plan it, then I do it. Then I study it. I say, was that effective? Did that actually work? And then if it worked well, I'll act and do it similarly again. If it didn't work well, I'll act and change it up a bit. But life is a cycle of plan, do, study, act, okay? Your whole life. You don't even know it. You've been doing plan, do, study, act forever. How'd you learn to walk? You plan, you did, you studied, you act. You stop falling eventually because you were doing PDSA. I have just given you, you don't know that. I've just given you all the steps for success. Whether it's one job or 20 jobs, it's about positive attitude. It's about everything in my story that I just shared. It's about not micro thinking, it's about macro thinking. I hope that some of it you'll leave here today and remember, let's see if I hit my goal.